Good news, everyone. If you are in a commercial plane crash, you have an 86% chance of surviving. And it gets even better if you exclude plane crashes that kill everybody. If you are in a plane crash in which at least one person survives, there is a 96% chance that the surviving person is you. Which is amazing when you think of it. You've got a highly flammable tube crammed full of drunk people in flip-flops. You then skid that tube off a runway or drop it in a river, and all those drunk idiots will probably get off just fine. The reason is that the aircraft industry has gotten very, very good at getting out of crashed aircraft as fast as humanly possible. You've got lighted pathways, multiple exits, and of course, every single flight begins with an in-depth safety briefing. The whole process is a model of efficiency that has saved countless lives. I regret to report that commercial airliners have almost none of the same efficiency when it comes to getting people on planes. Boarding aircraft, quite simply, is a mess. Passengers load their own luggage, they're not good at it, and a single passenger struggling with a bag can hold up the entire process. First class sections mean that for part of the time, aircraft are loading front to back, the slowest possible method. And your boarding pass? Why is it so complicated? However, there is a better way. Engineers, mathematicians, and other assorted nerds are flying just like the rest of us, and rest assured that they've spent their flights obsessively calculating how to make them less of an omnishambles. Jason Steffen, an American astrophysicist, used computer modeling to figure out the method generally recognized as the best at avoiding traffic jams. He says to board from back to front like most airlines do currently, but you skip a row in the first wave. Also, you board from the outside in, so if we just look at the last 4 rows, it would look like this. Window seat, window seat, window seat, window seat. Then middle, middle, aisle, aisle. There's just one problem to all this. Airline passengers are people, not lines of code. What's more, they are tired, stressed, frequently drunk people with small children who may not speak your language all that well. On a jumbo jet, this method would essentially require asking all those people to arrange themselves in a perfectly ordered line from 1 to about 500. Airlines want to board people faster. Less time on the ground means more time in the air making money. But they also know that you can computer model all the loading procedures you want, but it's all going to fall apart if passengers can't figure it out. That's why most airlines just kind of stick with whatever their customers like. Southwest Airlines famously basically boards everyone in a free-for-all. It's equitable, easy to understand, and very American. And compared to the alternative, it's quite likely the fastest boarding method in use. Nobody understands the psychological aspect of boarding better than Lufthansa, the flag carrier of Germany. They actually switch up their boarding procedures depending on which country they're in. If you're boarding a bunch of rural-oriented Germans, you board them by row. If you're in one of those countries that's not so good with lines, you just go with the free-for-all. However, even if you're not toying with algorithms, there are still other ways to make boarding smoother. For one, airlines are only using one door. Hey, here's a fun game. The next time you're loading up your 7-passenger minivan, do it exclusively by having passengers file in through the driver's door. Most wide-body commercial aircraft have upwards of 4 doors, and yet everyone from British Airways to Spirit Air generally only uses the one on the port side right behind the flight deck. It didn't used to be this way. In the early days of flight, planes carried 2 fold-up staircases, and when you landed, they just pushed both of them down. And some low-cost airlines like EasyJet are already using the dual stair method, just so long as you're at some hot weather location where you can board from the tarmac. Here again, the human factor is a problem. Boarding from the tarmac might be fine for the Casablanca airport, but at some place like Boston's Logan Airport, we're talking about thousands of people every hour being herded onto jetways. It would take like 5 minutes before someone got run over by an airport tug. But there is one last change that airlines could potentially implement that would be guaranteed to dramatically speed up boarding times. Remember how I mentioned that one of the biggest obstacles to efficient boarding is carry-on luggage? It slows people down as they struggle down the aisle. They overpack and utterly fail at jamming it in a bin. And that's if you don't have fights breaking out over scarce bin space. So you just ban it entirely. People might get a purse and a messenger bag, but everything else gets checked. A conceptual airline called Poppy actually tested this proposal and determined that it cut boarding time by 71%. Yeah, I know, doing away with carry-on would mean that you would need to waste precious minutes standing around at the baggage carousel. But what if airlines started removing the fee for checked bags? Would you rather spend 10 minutes in a climate-controlled, TV-strewn airport lobby,
I don't know.
or sweating in your coat, holding everything you own, and quietly wishing that the guy at the front of the line trying to stow his entire drum kit would just die already?
I don't know.
I think we know which is more civilized.
I'm leaving on a jet plane.